Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We're broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie. With me is my co-host, Darren Yazzie, but he'll get here when he gets here. So yeah, all thanks to Rivas Codex of Curiosity. So check out his channel. Big thank you for that intro and that radio voice. And if you're joining us with Sean Kelly's Into the Night podcast, we'd like to say thank you for staying late and joining us here. And a happy Sunday to you all out there listening far and wide, Indigenous or non-Indigenous. We're all family still. We're all family here. And we have our guest today is Eva Thunder. And let's give her a warm welcome here.
Hey, John. Hi, everybody. Well, Darren's running on Indian time, so we'll give him a second.
Grand entry. Yes, to get his highlights all cued away. No, just kidding. Vaughn Koshel, always on time, except last time, huh, Vaughn? You had to restart the whole episode just for you. No, just kidding. What's up, Vaughn Koshel? Let's go. Not missing this week. How are you, Dawn and Darren? I'm well, and Darren is late. That's Darren, all right. Where are you, Darren? No, I'm just kidding. Crazy Coyote 1313. Let's go. Mr. Curly. Good evening, Double D. Hope your week went well. Oh yeah, not too bad. It's always good to do new things. Each day is a new day, and it's always a blessing for sure. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Curly. Z Sun Dragon. Hi all. What's up, Z Sun Dragon? Let's see here. Farfield DK Blah. Hello. I think I said your name right. Melody Elbrez. Hey, Melody. Check on Darren for us. Kurt W75. Hey, Don and Darren. Great to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Eve.
Hey, Kurt.
Oh, hola. What's up? Right here is Melody Alvarez. Hey, Eve.
Melody.
Okay, looks like we caught up with the comments right now. So without further ado, let's hand off the mic to you. You can start off from your very beginning. You can take your time. I might ask you some question. I know Darren is gonna ask you some question when he gets here, and the viewers as well. They may have some questions as well. So go ahead, take it away.
All right. Well, everybody, I am Eve Thunder, and I am from the White Earth Band of Ojibwe, and that's in Minnesota. I come from one of the largest reservations in Minnesota, also one of the poorest. So, but I started out podcasting a couple of years ago, and I have two podcasts. I have Prime Declassified, which is on Rumble, and if you go to Prime Declassified, you'll see Prime Indigenous. And it's only about a couple of episodes in, and I took some time off. My mother passed away in May, so I am taking a break, but I am also doing interviews. So, and I met Don here, and he was became a friend on on Facebook and just recently asked me to come on because there was quite a few stories that I wanted to share. And one of them isn't really a scary one, but this is something that is a lot of people are unaware of. And there are some people that are, but in the 1920, 22, 23, there was an NFL team and they called themselves the Oorang Indians. They were coached by, I can't remember his name right now, just went right out of my head, but it was an all Native American football team. Yes, Jim Thorpe. Thank you. And my grandfather was Batiste Thunder, and he was one of the players. So we had an all Native American football team. And that's basically where a lot of the halftime show originated from, because the owner of the Indians, the Oorang Indians, he had breeding kennels for Oorang dogs. And so during the halftime, they would bring the dogs out and they would do all kinds of tricks with the dogs. And some of the players would, they would shoot or they would like throw tomahawks. So it became kind of like a little fun thing. And that's kind of where that originated from. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the players and their families. I know my grandpa has passed away, but it's if you look on Wikipedia, you'll find them and you'll see pictures. And I sent Don some pictures of some of the team members and Jim Thorpe, who also played and was the coach. And I do believe his brother played as well. I cannot remember his name, if it was Jake or James Thorpe. So that was an interesting little tidbit that I wanted to share with everybody, because I feel like it's not given enough, and a lot of people have never, or else heard very little of it. And so that's kind of like where my family comes from. My mom's family comes from Thunder Bay, Ontario, and my father's family kind of came on the other side of Michigan. And we just kind of made our way down to Minnesota and have been there since.
Quick question.
Sure.
Didn't they beat a few NFL teams, didn't they? Like New York Giants, and they did beat a few NFL teams. I know that.
I think so. They only played like 20 games. So it was like 2 seasons that they played, but I think they had a lot more fun going around and visiting. There was a lot of stories of them taking over some of the towns. And well, there he is.
Hey guys, it's having difficulties with this laptop that I'm having, so I'm here.
Oh. Blasted. I'm just kidding. All right. So, Darren,
where leave off at?
She's introducing herself and her lineage. She comes from a legendary player, Mr. Thunder. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his first name.
Batiste. It was Jean Batiste.
Yeah,
Jean Batiste. They all had French names. My grandpa and his and also my mother and my aunts and uncles all had like these French names. So my Genevieve and Imogen and Jean Batiste. But the last name was Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like out here in the Southwest, like a lot of our chiefs are like Manuelito, Ganado Mucho, Largos Logos, and Barbancito. So all of them are like Spanish influenced names. So, just different names, different influences, I guess, with the trading and raiding and, etc.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now. Fast forward now to this very day. Other than this ship right here behind me, this mothership here. So, we'll go back to Eve, Mrs. Thunder here. Okay. So,
all right.
Go ahead and continue.
I forgot where I was. Okay. So after the team, let's see. I talked about the podcast and some of the things that I wanted to talk about, because this is like Don't Whistle at Night. I was about 3 years old and I was at my uncle's house and we were on the Red Lake Reservation. That's where my mother's from. And I wandered away. And my sister got in trouble because I disappeared on them. And so she got yelled at by my mom, go find her. So she went to the lake and she saw me just standing there and just came running up to me. And I always heard this story from my mother, but what happened was that there was a man that was standing there. Or so she thought it was a man. But as she got closer, my sister got closer to grab me, she realized that this wasn't like a human person. It was an actual gray that was standing there looking at me, smiling at me, and I was smiling at this gray. And so she grabbed me and it took off running. And she said it looked like he was like not, his feet weren't touching the ground. And he just like took off and headed, and we took off in the other direction. And I do remember like it was almost like somebody called me, because I remember looking at the little, the pig had just had babies, and I was like standing there, and I wasn't tall enough to get on top of the fence, but I was looking through a slat, and it was like somebody called me. And I remember looking off in that direction, and then I just walked that way. And I remember standing there, and I remember my sister calling me and looking, to my left, and she hadn't shown up yet, but I could hear her. And that's all I can remember. Everything else is just kind of like digitally erased, I guess, from memory.
So, when you talk about grays, like what we said, we talked about last night. These were the tall grays, yeah.
Yes, he was very tall.
It's kind of hard to imagine. Though you said it was smiling, so that's even just an even scary, like freakier thought to see. Because I don't really hear too many of these grays smiling. All they have is just just stand there ominous and large black eyes. So that's really strange.
Yeah,
but,
I think I lived there for a while too when I got older, and I saw so many different types of ships. I think it was like around July 4th I would see them a lot in the sky, and I don't know if it was just because of the fireworks. But I also saw it on my own reservation, and then a couple years later, I saw it on that reservation. So, and these were like,
when you talk about these ships, were they just lights, or did you actually see like a form, a craft, a little bean standing there, or like just like the picture in the back, like Don has?
It was very far away, and when I saw it, it looked like a ball of fire, and.
Oh, wow.
And I could see it, and it was probably about maybe 25 to 30 miles away. And I just saw like a ball of fire. And as it was moving from the sky, it was going south to north. I noticed that it wasn't actual ball of fire. It was a triangle-shaped ship, which if you look online, you'll find TR-3Bs, which are not actual alien ships. They're government ships. Mm-hmm. And the corners of it were very like almost looked like the corners were on fire. But I kind of came to the estimation that it was probably maybe coming in hot somewhere and it was trying to cool down. That's the only thing I could think of. But I did see another one, and this was probably about maybe 2014, maybe about 2013, somewhere around there. And it was huge. It had to have been miles long. And I guess the only thing I could really say, and maybe it makes me sound totally insane, was it looked like something from Star Wars, like one of those big, huge ships that were like kind of like a wedge of cheese is what they call it. Oh, yeah. And I could see it. I was like, look. And my significant other was in the car. Every time he looked, we would hit a patch of trees because we were in the woods, and he would be like, I don't see anything. And I'm like, when we get up here, we get up to this thing, just stop. I could see it. And he finally stopped, and we looked up and we didn't see it. But I looked ahead of us, and there was like an opening. There was like a bunch of clouds, and there was like an kind of like this weird opening that was like, the clouds look different through the opening, but I don't know if it was like a portal that it went through. But it was like almost like a totally different on the other side type thing. So, I know that's crazy. But I see a lot of those, and a lot of people have talked about them showing up like on the reservations and stuff. So, and I think I was on another podcast and someone was saying that a lot of the reservations have bases and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah, like I always talk about it too. Like even back my own homes like that too. So maybe last year, we had a straight UFO sighting with galore for like a whole week straight, every night. And I like I was saying, I've always been that lunatic in the trees, saying there's light, those lights in the trees, but that night I tried my best to get everybody in that community that I was at, like, come right here, come right here. The lights are out here, and like, oh, I don't want to go out there. What if we see something? Like, that's the point. They're right here. They're out, and and to this day, yeah, I'm still that man talking about lights in the trees. But I do have video evidence of it too. So I just need to work on cleaning it up.
Oh yeah.
So
sorry. Go ahead.
I just need to work on cleaning it up.
Yeah.
So like what you're saying, you don't seem like you don't want to come out as crazy, but like we're all crazy here. So amongst family. So these lights, do you just occasionally see them when's the last time you've seen these UFOs?
The last time I saw was I was visiting a friend of mine down in Safford, Arizona, and we were at the base of the mountain where they have that Lucifer Observatory.
Lucifer's Eye at Mount Graham by the Vatican. Yeah.
Right. And
Apache Sacred Mountain.
I had I don't know. It was like something was just telling me to do this. I had to do this water ceremony, which was like a healing ceremony for Mother Earth. And so I had this water and I was charging it. And my friend that was there, he was Madej. So he was like a medicine man. And
wait, he was like, is that how you say medicine man in your language?
Yeah, Madej we win is how we say it. But I just say Madej.
Madej we win.
Try to shorten everything. But
yeah,
I asked him, I was like, I have to do this ceremony. And he's like, okay. And I was like, leave your phone here. And he was like, all right. So we walked outside and I knew when I was going outside that there was going to be ships. I had no idea how many ships. So when we walked outside, he looked up and he was like, do you see all those ships? And there was like, they were turning their lights on and it was just filled. It was like a parking lot just filled. And they were there to watch this ceremony that we were going to do for the earth. So after, I did the ceremony and I poured the water on the ground and we put out tobacco and we were praying back to back. I was looking trying to think. I was looking west and he was looking east. And it was a full moon. I think it was like June 13th of 2021. And I noticed like there was like this flash of light. And I thought it was maybe a car turning around behind the house. So, the flash of light was there. And he said, did you see that? And I was like, see what? And he was like, it was like the moon got brighter. And he's like, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining things. And I was like, no, I saw it too, but I didn't, I had my back to the moon, so I couldn't really see it. But I do have a witness for that one. So, he and I are both crazy. But we didn't bring our phones out because we were told not to. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a lot of strange occurrences that go on, like especially through sacred mountains, magical mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of So
just let alone these reservations also, Don, he came to the conclusion that, I think the government might be letting these creatures out on these reservations, and like that comes to the point, like, it comes to the media, you're just a bunch of crazy Indians, talking about Bigfoot. So at the end, just, the
or the dog men.
Yeah, exactly. It gets, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens on the reservation, and a lot of good stuff also. But when it comes down to it, we just try to catalog and, start a podcast of our own, and talk to our neighboring, tribal, our brothers out there and your sisters, because you're not crazy, you're not crazy at all. Um, so if we can catalog everything, put everything in it, together as a community, I think it'll be all for the better, for everybody out there. And it also, it even goes into the media. Like I don't know if you watched that. Was it Reservation Dogs? It even had that guy talking about Bigfoot, and everybody was laughing about him. And he's in the community also. So are these UFOs. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's out there.
I think
So,
I mentioned
so
yesterday that we
oh,
call
go
him
ahead.
Sabe.
Sabe.
That's
Sabe.
Sabe, and translation, it's in Ojibwe, it's giant.
Hmm.
And I've actually picked up a hitchhiker once, and my mother was like, I was picking up hitchhikers, and he's native, we got to pick him up, need to ride. And he started talking about when he was a kid, and he was in his grandmother's house, and they were all like little playing hide and go seek. And he said there was like an old, kind of like an old shed or a building that was there that was only like half of it was rotted away, and he was going to hide in it. So when he went in there, he was like, oh, my cousin was trying to find me. So he's like, I backed up a little bit. And when he backed up into something that moved. And so he just kind of did this slow turn. And when he turned around, he saw that he said it was Sabe. And he said the look on his face, the little boy's face was surprised. And he said, my mouth dropped open. And he's like, and he like did this almost like this guttural type chuckle. Like he was like laughing. Like, he had managed to, surprise this young kid, but he didn't hurt him, and I mean, I've never heard of anyone on the reservation being, attacked or anything like that. I think a lot of people are just, they know of him and they protect him, and that's why
Yeah.
he's, there.
With
So
the attack,
Sabe is how you say Sabe is in Ojibwe, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And I don't call him, he's got a different name, but I can't remember what it is, but that's what we call him. And he, a lot of I don't know, I've heard of it too. Someone's like, I heard of that, and I laughed at it because I didn't know what it meant. But now that I know, I won't laugh again. I was like, well, he's be respectful. And going out and hoping to see him, has to be some sort of respect there. And you bring out guns and dogs, and it feels like you're hunting him. And I mean, anybody who feels that they're being hunted is going to react a certain way. So like if you're going to go out, I would put intention. That's what I did last summer. I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to let him lead me where I'm going to go. And we ended up at this campsite, and we were watching at night when we hadn't built a fire. We were watching all these ships in the sky they weren't satellites, because they weren't just going in a straight line. They were zipping all over, doing 90-degree turns. And I look over by the vehicle and I see this big red orb that was probably about 8 feet tall, or 8 feet in diameter. And I kept seeing like these blue and white orbs kind of peek around trees, and I was like, what is it? Oh my gosh. And I didn't want to say nothing because I was like, it's cool, but it's kind of like not really scary, but more like you're surprised to see this type of orbs, because I forgot what they call them on the reservation, but certain colors mean certain things. But I didn't feel like scared or anything. And then just as we were like going to get into the tent and go to sleep, I looked down at my phone because I'm like turning the flashlight on, and I couldn't get it to turn on because my phone was like glitching out. It was like weird static, like, you know, those old TVs that, you know, grandma and grandpa had in the house, and they would just go to static and weird zigzags. My phone was doing that, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, oh wow. So we go into the tent, and I had a green sleeping bag and a purple pillow, and, you know, the cooler was in there and everything, but everything going in looked like various shades of gray. It didn't, like, the colors weren't coming out, and I'm just like, maybe it's just the flashlight doing this. I don't know, you know. And it that night, I think I was sitting at the end of my bed, and I was like, I'm going to either go to the bathroom, which I didn't want to go by myself because I knew that there were bears out, or I was going to go to the car and go get a pair of shorts because it was really hot that night. And my tent buddy was like, he, you know, fell asleep and woke up, and they said that they kept doing that, and I was still sitting at the bottom of my sleeping bag. And to me, it only felt like maybe no more than 10 minutes of trying to decide what I was going to do before I laid down. But what they were saying, it was a lot longer than that. So I had like this missing time of sitting there, just staring. He's like, you're just staring at the tent wall. And I was like, I didn't feel like I was doing that. I felt like I was thinking, you know, should I go or should I stay, or I don't know.
That's a bit disconcerting right there. You know, you have control of your body, but you don't. You know, it's almost like that. You know, that sleep paralysis pandemic that's happening right now. You know, like people say they, you know, they're up, but the lights are on, but no one's home. You know, it's really weird. But when it comes down to it, do you have how do you say it? You have any strange marks that happen on your bodies during this? Like you wake up with, you know, like 3 triangle dots on your
Bumps or
Oh
anything?
yeah, constantly. I call them, we call them injection marks. They're like little red marks, and then sometimes there's a bruise around them. Recently, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, I woke up and I had like 4 like really strange marks. They were vertical on my arm, and I was like trying to line up my fingers, wondering if I scratched myself. And it took a lot of healing, but I got rid of them. But they just didn't line up right, and then they were completely straight down my arm, and nobody scratches their arm like that. You know, usually you scratch like this, you know, but it was like trying to figure out how do I scratch myself. And it was like after seeing those marks, I ended up, I think I put down, it was like 2 nights of demons that visited me that night. And
2 nights of demons. Wow.
2 nights of demons.
Oh man.
Visited.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Do you think you had possibly abduction, anything like that? But do you have any...
It kind of, like, I think a lot of the times when I have like these sleep paralysis, I would like have my eyes closed, like I was like not really sleeping, but I couldn't open them. And there would be times where I would like, it was like I was drifting up, like floating. And then I would get to a certain point and it would start to like vibrate. And I couldn't figure out what is this vibration like body, but what it is they're taking you, and you're being pulled through physical objects, like, you know, the ceiling, the roof, the walls, and they have to keep, you know, this vibration going so that they can go through physical objects when they're taking you. That's what it was explained to me.
It's like a beam of light, like when they shoot a beam of light through a house or a trailer, anything, that body goes through it like really quick. Like you'll see like a light go into that roof, then you'll see a body go up into it. You know, it's pretty strange. 1 second here. Let's pause and let's welcome our new viewer here, Darlene Lopez.
Up,
Hello there, new here. Thanks for joining us, Darlene. Thank you. And Mr. Curly, doing good. Your channel is turning into that old radio station for Sunday evenings. American Country Countdown with Bob Kingsley. Oh man, hopefully sponsored by Bluebird and Spam, you know. Spiritual Ascension.
Yeah, that is definitely
Grays.
in 2006, I remember waking up one morning. I used to work at the casino, so I'd get home at like 2, 3 in the morning. And the one morning I got up and I threw the blankets back and I looked down because there was like, what the heck? There was all kinds of pine needles and dirt and everything stuck to my feet, and they were in the bed. And anybody who knows me knows that I can't sleep if there's like a crumb in the bed. I will sit there and brush it off and shake the sheets out and stuff. So for me to like allow that didn't really mix with me. So I just feel like I was like walking out of the house, because the pine needles are really, they have the sap, so they stick to your feet.
Yeah.
And there was like dirt and leaves and little tiny pieces of
You're
like
outside
sticks.
walking around.
Yeah, and I don't want to do
Going
that.
gushy. You go,
I don't sleepwalk.
In Navajo they call it gushy. Oh wow. Jeez.
So, these demons, do you think they're part alien beings too, or they always have that connection between, like that movie, was it The Fourth Kind? I
Right.
think that was the first
Oh.
movie where they brought up the whole connection of, these aliens were actually demonic, in a sense,
Claiming they're
old
God.
gods type deal. So,
Right. So like archons, basically is what I was talking to a friend of mine that's on Facebook. His name is Fitz. I don't know if I can say his name, but he was saying that like the Mothman and stuff was considered like an archon, was considered like a demon. And I was like, that makes sense, because it shows up when there's like these horrible things that happen, not only in Point Pleasant, but also there was witnesses in Minnesota for the I-35 bridge that collapsed, and I can't even remember when that was. Probably say about maybe 15 years ago, maybe a little bit less. And there was witnesses that said that they saw like the Mothman before the bridge collapsed.
yeah, same thing out there in Chicago too. I believe they seen him flying around, or doing Mothman stuff, whatever that would be. But he's not really
Looking at lights.
hiding it no more sometimes. So
No. And these things aren't, because it's like there was like a series of portals that were like opened, and we won't talk about which companies is opening them. But
Once again, one more time. I'm just kidding.
and in the 2 nights of demons, after I had those marks on my arm, there was I was sleeping and I was like in my room, and I had my dog in his little kennel, and I kind of like I can, this is really weird, but when I see things at night with my eyes are closed, I see through my third eye, and it kind of has like almost like a grayish type look to it, where it's just like dimension, basically, how far away something is. And I saw this like black, look like a mist or a fog, and it was just kind of like floating around, and I looked at it and I was like, oh well, I'm just going back to sleep, because I wasn't scared. And so it was like, oh well, so it goes over me, and as I'm laying there, it hits me in the back of the neck, and I'm like, okay, I felt that is cold. And so it was like kind of like, even though I was going through the sleep paralysis, I remember kind of pushing myself up a little bit with my arm, and I was like, get out. But because you're half asleep, it sounds more like grrr, I was like, get out. And I was able to open my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, I just saw it just like someone took like a vacuum cleaner and just went, and it just sucked it into this, and it just disappeared. And I was like, well, that was weird, but I felt it on the back of my neck. So I was like, it was almost like a physical manifestation. I was like, that was weird, and I just went back to sleep. And so the next night, I was just falling asleep, and I have to close my door and lock it, because I have a cat that can open doors. And so he'll open the door, come in and open every door, and and just be annoying. And so I locked the door, and I felt something like jump up on the bed and run across my bed, my comforter, and then up on my chest. And I was like, whoa, is the cat in here? I was like, but it feels smaller than a cat. So is that like, oh my God, there's a rat in here? And I was like freaking out about the rat. And I happened to see with my third eye open, it was like this weird like fuzzy, probably about as big as a softball, and had like weird fur sticking out, or hair, fur, whatever it was. It was like I couldn't see like the face. It was like blurry, and it was coming at my face, and I'm like, I can't move, I can't open my eyes, I can't lift my arms or nothing. So the only thing I could really do was I started growling at it, and I'm making these low growling noise, and it kind of stops, and it kind of advances again towards my face. So I started snapping my teeth at it like I was going to bite it, and and it kind of makes this noise like, and it comes a little bit closer to my face, and I snapped my teeth again at it, and it backed away, and it was making this weird, like, kind of whining noise. I can't reproduce that noise that it was making because I had never heard it before. And finally, I was like, it's almost like it disappeared, and when it disappeared, I was able to move, and I sat up and I looked around, and I was like, what the heck? And I was like, well, that's weird. And I went back to sleep. And I have a friend of mine who came on my show, and I also went to school with in Colorado, and he studied demonology. And so I'm telling him about these incidences, and he goes, these are like low-level demons. And I was like, yeah, kind of like that, yeah. And he's like, well, you weren't scared. And I was like, no, you're scared. You know, they're scared of me, you know, and they were. And I haven't had anything come back. And come and visit me in the night. But, you know, it was almost like they were trying to, like, you know, because they want you to be scared. They want you to be frightened, because, you know, that's what they harvest, and they feed off of the fear. And so, you know, 2 nights of coming to my house, they were probably hungry because I didn't give them that fear. I'm like, I'm not scared of these things.
So that was your demon encounter, those little furry whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was. And people were like, oh, that sounds really cute. And it's like, it wasn't, though. You know, I mean, it was kind of weird Furby thing comes and jumps up.
No, it was like, this one's a biter. I like the Navajos. They don't bite.
I was going to bite it, but I was like, man, I don't know if I want a mouthful of fur. I was like, ugh. But yeah.
So this thing didn't have any eyes or, you know, facial features, mouth? Or...
Not that I could really see, but, you know, I mean, I would say, you know, seeing things through my third eye, I can see some details, but I couldn't see any eyes or like a mouth or anything. But it was making noise, so I knew that there's something there. But I mean, I've had these archons, these demons throughout my life come and try to attack me, try to influence me, and, you know, they can't. It's because of you know, and if you were like, well, you're not religious, and I'm like, well, you don't have to be religious, you know, you just have to know your power, you know, and hold your vibration, and not be frightened by any of this. And I mean, it can be very jarring to, you know, because I mean, I think I was right when my dad passed away, there was a visitor, and, you know, I wasn't thinking what my medicine man told me when he said, don't sleep upside down on your bed, you know, so where your feet are where your head normally is, and your head is down by your feet. Well, I did one night, and I went into this dream where it was like my mom and I were like preparing a bed. It was like a big queen size bed, and we're making the bed, and she keeps saying, I keep hearing noises upstairs. And I'm like, well, it's just us here, so I don't know what to tell you. She goes, I think upstairs is haunted. And I'm like, no, it's not. And so we were making the bed, and I lay down, and I start getting sleepy, and my mom elbows me, and she's like, who's that? And I like, pull the blanket down, and I look, and I see this girl walking into the bathroom, and I was like, oh, that's so-and-so's daughter. Like, you know, like, oh, geez, you know, this is somebody's kid. And I didn't think anything of it. And I start drifting off to sleep. And, you know, this is weird, because you're in a dream, falling asleep in a dream, or what I thought was a dream. And this thing came out of the bathroom and jumped on top of me. And so the blanket is kind of pulled over my head, and this thing is on top of me with its arms on each side of my head. So if I would have pulled the blanket down, it would have been right there. And it startled me, but I didn't show any fear. in fact, I was like, my demonologist friend told me that this certain prayer, which I think is like Our Father prayer, is a very powerful prayer. And so I started like saying this in my head. And then after I finished it, I was like, I started yelling, get the F off me. And it was like something just picked it up off of me. And I jumped up and I'm like half awake and I'm like ready to go into like fight mode. I'm just like, let's go, and I look around and there's nothing in the house, but I could smell it. It was like unwashed, very sour, and almost like a sulfur type smell. And it stayed in my room for about 10 minutes. I had to open a window to like get that smell out.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a physical manifestation that jumped me in my sleep.
It happens.
Mhm.
I don't like this.
Yeah, that's what they say though. When these demonic, characters or beings, they always come with a smell of death or
Come back with more.
phosphorus.
Yeah, they always
So-
come back with more too. You may kick them out, or you may like fall asleep. You get out of your body. You may see it. You may kick their butt, but they'll come back with more. So don't ever forget that.
Oh yeah, they try everything, man. But with me, it's almost like it's going backward because I think it was like I was 18, and I couldn't figure out why I got attacked. But you're protected up till you're an adult because you're considered like a child, and so you have protection. And this thing, I was like living in the basement apartment, and I had my son who was just a baby at the time, and I was sitting there. I put him to bed, and I was watching TV, and I just kind of felt like something was closing in on me. And I remember the lady that I was renting the basement apartment from. She lived over me, and she was gone for the weekend. And it seemed like everybody in the whole cul-de-sac was gone, and it was like these things were just like closing in on me, and I started to almost have like a panic attack. And like even the air like felt really thick and kind of oily, and it was like kind of like this weird whispering that's like and I'm like, what is that noise? And I kind of freaked out, but it was like trying to tell me to do things, and I was like, oh, that's not happening. So I called my sister, and I know she never answers her phone, but she answered the phone that night. And I was like, she was really a very religious person, and I was like, get your Bible and start reading to me, so we need to pray. And I, like I said, I didn't grow up religious. My mother and father were both in boarding school, so they were raised by priests and nuns. And they were always trying to get me to be like, religious, and I just, it just wasn't my thing. But some of this did stick in my head, where my sister started to read, and that feeling just kind of like lessened, like they just went away. And I was like, finally, I was like, I think we're okay now. And she's never said nothing to me about that. But yeah, it was, that was when I was 18. It was like it was like a bunch of them, and they were like surrounding the house. And I was like, I can leave. But they had locked, the neighborhood lady locked, or my neighbor or my landlady had locked the entrance to the garage. So to get to the garage, I would have had to go outside and run around the garage and then go in. And I was like, no, they're outside. I can't do that. I got to stay inside. So that was that was like but to me that was terrifying, because I was 18. I had never dealt with anything like that.
Okay, so it was 18. So the voices weren't like, go back to your baby daddy.
No, I wouldn't anyway.
Pause. I'm gonna read some of our viewers' comment real quick.
Okay.
Here. I thought I'd throw a zinger in there to stop. I'm just kidding. Remember, we got some viewers here, guys. No, just kidding. Spiritual ascension. The big black gray eyes are actually lens. Oh yeah. I heard that they're like the suit, huh? Right.
Yeah.
Right. They removed them, I think, after a crash, and they were removing them. They're almost like contact lenses.
Oh. Yeah. Tyson Lolito, T in the house. What's up, T? How's it going, guys? By the sounds of it, it's going to be another good one. Stay up. Oh yeah. Definitely. Thanks for dropping in, T. Kurt W75. Well, that's crazy. Damn, he almost found the hide and seek champion. Talking about the Sabe.
Sabe.
Says, but as always, the big man always a few steps ahead. Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. JP, hello everyone. What's up,
What's up?
JP?
He-
And we got a question here.
Mhm.
Rosie Mouse too. I know I said it wrong. Question. I wonder what colors mean if possible. Thank you. I think he's talking about the orbs.
Oh,
You know,
the
like different
orbs.
colors.
Well, I
Yeah.
think like they call them fireballs. That's from the reservation, and the certain colors would mean something. But I think in this case, it wasn't really a fireball. It was like an orb. It was like very round. I really think the red orb was Sabe myself. That's what I think. And they're interdimensional, so they can, partially manifest or else fully manifest. But they don't really live here. They don't. Their home was destroyed for the most part, so they don't really have food there. But they live there and they come here, and some do stay here. But from my understanding, there was some lady on YouTube and she was talking about it, and I think I watched that thing for a whole hour with my mouth open. Oh my god!
Mm. Oh wow. Jeez. And spiritual ascension comes back again and says many of the following seraphim were insect, dragon, moth, lizard races. Wow.
There are
I didn't
fire
know that.
dragons. That's what the seraphim are. They're fire dragons. And I had a dream about a dragon. This was like almost 2 years ago in November. I had this dream and I'm like, there's
Color.
this dragon, and it was white.
Fire.
It was
White.
pure white and it had wings, and it was almost like a cat. It was like doing this cat loaf thing where it was like hunched
Oh
down.
snap.
And it was like it was smiling at me, but I mean I wasn't feeling like terror, but I guess
Oh,
if you really
no.
saw something like that showing its teeth, you would think it was, being violent, but it seemed like it knew me,
Oh
and it was
man.
speaking telepathically to me. So, but
quick
I wasn't
question.
scared. Okay. go ahead.
Wow, that's crazy. I had a dream of a dragon as well. I had a voice, someone tell me, that's it's basically Lucifer, trying to plan to eat your whole family. He has a war against your whole family. So he looked like a giant snake, probably 23, maybe 32 feet tall, huge, coiled up, and it was black and white stripes in his face, reminding me of the cat's face. His he had white whiskers, really
Right.
long, and white hands, and
Mm.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there
it's,
are two different kinds of dragons. They are the cat dragons and like the snake dragons. So for you to say that it was like a snake, just
wow.
like that really, resonates.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Oh man, yeah, it looked at us like it was gonna eat us. Like I'm gonna get you guys. I'm gonna get you guys. But crazy coyote 1313 quantum mechanics student here, moving through solid objects. Atomical manipulation move through atoms around, and you
Yep.
can get them through solid matter. Whoa!
Right.
I don't know what I
Yes.
read.
No,
Did they
no,
just
no.
summon a
Seriously, that
demon?
makes total
I'm
sense
just kidding.
because I had this dream, or I thought it was a dream, but I had just moved into this house and I had this memory of getting up off the floor because I was sleeping on a little tiny mattress, and I walk over to the wall, the corner of the bedroom, and I push right through the physical wall, but I could hear like this strange, like frequency in my head, and I moved through the wall, and then I just like took off and I flew in this direction. And the next day I walked outside and I looked at the, I lived on the third floor. So I was like, maybe I stepped out on a patio or something and then just, what the heck? But no, there was nothing there. I just walked through a brick wall. But that was what I remember is almost like a frequency. I could hear it, and that was allowing me to walk through the wall. So sorry about that.
Oh no.
Let's see. Oh,
I said
well,
I didn't tell you
spiritual-
all my stories. So last night.
Oh yeah. We'll get to them now that you mentioned it. But spiritual ascension. We're almost done, guys. Spiritual ascension. They feed on fear. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
most definitely.
They do.
Kurt. Oh yeah. Kurt W75. Always stay aware and cleanse yourself of the unseen negative influences. Definitely. Yeah, especially social media. Don't read
Oh,
the
yeah.
comments. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Spiritual ascension. Spiritual ascension. They are shapeshifters. Ooh, just like the trickster, the coyote,
Mhm.
maybe something like that. But yeah, go ahead. We caught up. Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot where I was gonna go with that.
Oh, wait. Darren, you got any questions?
Oh, I remember real quick. Oh, so
Okay.
go ahead if you want to do a question. I was gonna show you my shirt. And this was another that was the hitchhiker that I saw when I was like 19. And so this is what I drew. I went on a podcast and they made a t-shirt of the drawing that I drew, but this is what it looks like. You can see it.
Oh hell no! You see that? That's what you seen right there, huh?
That's what I seen.
And
my boyfriend at the time, we ended up getting married and having 2 kids, but I asked him when I did the drawing, I sent it to him and I'm like, do you remember what she looked like? And he was like, oh yeah, she had this color hair and and he helped me to make it. And I kept sending it back to him and he's like, that's what she looked like. So when I sent it to him, he made a t-shirt out of it. And I guess I can get into the story. I was taking him home. We went to the movies and he lived on another reservation. From where I lived between 3 reservations and he lived on one of them. And so I was taking him back to his house and we had one of our friends with us and I was going to either take a left or go straight. I couldn't figure out. So I was slowing down. I'm like, should I take this way? Should I take that way? And I see this woman, she was like hitchhiking, but I thought it was really weird because she had like a whole bunch of layers on. And I was like looking at her. And she made eye contact with me. And it's about 12 o'clock at night. And, when a car's coming, you can't see inside the car with the lights on or anything. But she made eye contact with me. I saw her and she smiled. But all of a sudden, her jaw just dropped. And you could see like these, like probably about 2.5, 3 inch long, sharp teeth in her mouth. And her jaw just drops down to here. And you can see the teeth. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I just instantly froze. And my boyfriend's like, he's hitting me. And he's not saying nothing either. He's just whacking me in the arm. And he's like, go, go, go. And he leans his foot over and he pushes down on the gas. And we just like fly past her. And we could hear our friend in the backseat. Did you see her teeth? Did you see her effing teeth? And I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one who saw it. These 2 guys saw it too. And our friend passed away a couple of years after that. It had nothing to do with it, of course. But so I do have, my ex-husband would come on and like verify that we did see the same thing.
Wow.
So that is
awesome. That's pretty cool.
Was this lady, was she a Native American or
no? She was non-indigenous.
She's a ginger.
Yeah, she had well, it was. I was trying to tell him it was a brownish red, but he made it like almost orange on the t-shirt. But it was like kind of she looked like she was homeless, basically, because she had all these layers on, and then she had a scarf on too. And I thought, it's like July, I mean, it's not that cold in Minnesota, but I guess maybe it could be.
So, what do you think that entity was? What do you after all these years, you sit there, and for myself, I sit there and I think about my occurrences too, and I was like, where do I put that? How do I phrase that? What was it?
I had mentioned the story. I was doing a interview, and his name was Psychic Daniel, and he was on my show, and I was talking about this, and I was like, what do you think that was? And he goes, it was a spirit. He was like, and I was like, well, if it was a spirit, how did the other 2 people in the car see it? And he goes, one of your abilities is that anybody who's in close proximity to you will see what you're seeing, which makes sense because, I talked about the shadow person that I saw in my house, and my niece was with me and she saw it too. So that kind of makes sense to me that people that are around me, I like to talk to a lot of the paranormal groups that I've interviewed, and they're always like, come with us so that we can see what you're seeing. And I was like, do you really want to see that?
Wow. So you're obviously some type of, beacon or battery of sort, you admit
lighthouse.
Yeah, a lighthouse for sure. How, out of all the stuff, you obviously you got a lot stuff that you've seen and you've been through. How do you keep yourself from not falling deep down the rabbit hole, as they say, lose yourself? And that there has to be some strength you draw from, just keep on going. But
Well, I think my strength is drawn from, I think it was like a vision that I had, and it helped me to really understand why I'm so targeted by these things. It was like last summer, I was sitting outside on my patio, and all of a sudden I saw like this crystalline like symbol, or it was like a sigil or a symbol. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I wish I had pen and paper because I could draw it, because it was just lines. But in the middle of it, out popped this bird, and it was like a crystalline bird, and it was like flying really slow, like, slow-mo. And I'm just like, okay. And I've been sober, it'll be 9 years this month. So I mean, I wasn't out there drinking or anything, but I saw this.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I saw this bird, and it was like, either it was like a firebird or a thunderbird, or like a phoenix bird, because it had a very strange head to it. It was like almost kind of like very pointy, and it kind of came out and come down. And underneath it, I was seeing, it looked like it was a profile of, it was like an indigenous profile, because I could see like the hair, and I could see like a feather, and I could see like the side view, and the skin, was darker. But it was like, I could see that, but I wasn't looking at it because my eyes were just like on this bird. And I was doing research on that, and I was like, what am I seeing? This thunderbird, this phoenix, whatever it is. And I think it was like in one of the tribes that I live close to, they said when someone has a vision of a thunderbird, it means that they're like a leader, like, and I was like, man, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I want that or not. So I mean, I can understand that. And then when my aunt passed away, I found out what her Indian name was, and it was I can't say it Ojibwe wise, but I can say the translation of it was echoing thunderbird woman. And then and she was on my dad's side of the family. So my mother's side is Thunder, and my father's side is Howard. So yeah, that would explain, the very, very strong family lineage.
So
and why I'm targeted. Yeah.
So pretty much that bird that you have in the back, right?
Yes, that is a phoenix bird.
Huh. Wow. That's, that is, I don't even have any words for that right now. But yeah, it's really amazing story. And, people are chosen, they're chosen to be, leaders, even if it's spiritual leaders, or, people that have to go ahead, and plant the trail, set the trail, or even the people that would have to, we pick, some are actually born to be leaders, or some have the ability to speak, and they use that. I would like to say nowadays not really good. You can I can go to like my chapter house meeting, and it's almost, it's a straight up brawl. Like, man, there's no debate, this is just a straight fight. It gets pretty brutal out here. But
well, yeah, then when I was born, I'm like aging myself here, but when I was born on February 27th, 1973, and I was given a name in the hospital the day that I was born, because that was the day that the AIM took over an agency in South Dakota. So my family called me the Wounded Knee Baby. So I don't know if that has anything to do with all this I don't even know what to call it, really. Why I've been targeted by, not only aliens, but like these paranormal and these entities and these archons. And, also I'm not very religious. And yet I think it was like, I was like asking someone, I was like, well, how do you see your guides? Because there are people that see them. And they're like, well, you just have to say, you have to show yourself to me. And I was like, oh, all right. So I did that. And I was in this meditation, and all of a sudden I saw this, it looked like a being of light. And I was like, Oh, you know, this being of light, he showed me this sword that he had. It was like a flaming sword. And as he showed it to me, he kind of put it in my hands, but I wasn't holding it, or maybe I was holding it. It's hard to tell because I couldn't see like his hands, or, you know, it might even have been a female, but I kind of got that it was a male. And the sword that he gave me, I could see like these etchings on the sword. And they almost look like kind of like Norse type symbols, like protection or something. And I didn't really know who he was, but I think it was during the scandemic. I was like trying to go to my medicine man and get help with healing, because I can do this like hands-on healing on people, and I have been doing this since I was really little. But I think it's like the Green Mile, you know, when John Coffey does healings on someone, he lets out like this almost like these bugs and stuff, and he lets it go. I didn't have the ability to do that, and I would take on other people's pain really easily. And so I was like trying to get my medicine man to help me, and he goes, well, you know, you come back, he's like, and you know, you bring some tobacco and some blankets, he's like, and we can start working with that so you can let that pain go, so you're not living with this pain when you help others. But he passed away and I didn't get to go to him. So I was kind of like stuck in my town, and I took these classes through this woman. She was an Osuru Reiki master. And she helped me to be able to like let go of this energy that I was holding on to. But Reiki,
that
like
sounds...
it's Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I seen it. You know, I heard
Hey,
it.
grandpa. That's my grandpa.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
Dude.
I just instead of interrupting you, I thought I'd just bring it up like, bah.
Well, I was
Yeah,
like waiting. Is he gonna say something?
Oh, I had to go in and send it to myself. I actually spaced it out, but yeah, here's Grandpa right here, Grandpa Thunder.
Yep, my Grandpa Thunder, Jean Baptiste. I think he went by Baptiste, and those are the Oorang Indians, and they were the 1922-1923 Ohio NFL football team, and they were all Native American. So there's some of them right there. Yeah.
Here.
So, like tribes all over too. It wasn't just like Ojibwe. It was like tribes all over. And I think they're even on Wikipedia, and there's like a list. I was going to send that to you, and I totally just spaced it. But they had a list of all different tribes and tribal members that were on the team.
Oh, yeah. This is Jim Thorpe right here in the center. He was the owner, coach, and player, correct? Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't the owner. The owner was the guy that had the Oorang breeding dogs. Those are the dogs with the really long noses and the really long hair.
Oh, is that the dog that's on the bottom of the crowd?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little dog.
Oh.
And he bred those dogs, and he bought the team, and he did a lot of advertising for his kennels.
So, tell me, do you know any information on the symbol that they have on their chest? It kind of looks like the Green Lantern type.
Yeah, I did. I looked that up too, and I was like, "Is this the Green Lantern?" It's so weird, but no, it's like the it's an O for Oorang, and then the I is for Indians. So it does look like the Green Lantern. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Wow, that's nice though. But yeah, these are the guys at the beginning of football, huh? These people that actually
like, we wouldn't have the halftime show if it wasn't for these guys.
Yeah,
it was based on
absolutely no padding, just
not even a helmet. It's just like a weird leather helmet.
Yeah, just a leather cap. Yeah,
they smile. When they smile, they got missing teeth. Throw back.
I know there was one story where they went drinking at this bar, and the bartender was like, "All right, you know, we got to close up. Everybody's got to go." And they didn't want to like stop partying. So they put the bartender in like a phone booth and like set it down so he couldn't get out. And then they just went back in the bar and kept drinking. Like, that's the only story that I could like pull up from that. So
hey, at least they made the most of it.
Yeah.
Let's read the comments real quick. Back to atomical manipulation also involves vibration, and sound to where solid matter is nothing to us quantum mechanics students are considered wizards and witches of the science. The US quantum mechanics students are considered heretics to regular science community because we call out all the flaws and what if in anything. Okay, I think I said that right. Oh, wow. Wow. That is like science actually is witchcraft, huh? Especially like those
Oh yeah.
guys, that make
Well,
medicine, the drug dealers.
anything can be really witchcraft. I mean, they talk about like the Bible is, ritual and saying words
Mhm.
as in a prayer. I mean, a lot of things would be considered, like even
Especially our language to life and death,
right.
your
Yeah.
tongue. Yeah. Vet Girl 84. Hi all. What's up, Vet Girl?
Hello.
Hey, that girl.
Cedric Willie. Hey bros. What did I miss? Was watching my boys beating the Lions tonight. Nice. Let's see here. Okay. All right. I believe we caught up. Darren, do you have any more questions before we move on with Miss Thunder?
Yeah, last night you were talking about you were actually there with the Phoenix lights, right? Did you guys
Yeah.
talk about that yet?
No,
They
we
dropped
didn't.
her off.
Yeah, I was living in Phoenix in the city of Phoenix in Ahwatukee, which is like kind of south by Tempe there. And
Ooh, nice.
I lived there from 96 to 97. And it was probably about 10, 12 years ago. I was watching, my mom used to like to watch like these alien shows and unsolved mysteries and all that type of stuff. And all of a sudden that popped up on there. And I was like, Mom, oh my God. Finally saw the date. And I'm like, hey, we lived there during that time. And my mom looked at me like I grew another head. And she was like, you don't remember that? And I was like, no. She was like, everybody was talking about it. They were talking about it at Fry's. They were talking about it at the bank. She goes, everywhere. How did you not know? And I was like, I don't know. I had like this missing time. And I go back on it. And it was before I met this guy that I was dating. And it was after I started working at the Fountain Hills Casino. And it would have been right there in like the first or the second week of March. And then I go back and I look at it and I'm like, that had to have been when I had missing time because I had almost a day and a half of missing time. And I don't even remember anything what led up to it. All I remember is waking up in this hotel, which is weird because I had an apartment. Why would I be in a hotel? And it wasn't like I woke up and I'd snagged up or anything. I was by myself. It was like, what am I doing here by myself? What's
Keep
going
creeping.
on? Right?
That's cool.
But no, I was there and I went, it was like my car and I went and grabbed my keys and I went out to the car and I was like looking for clues. Like, how did I get here? I mean, how? I don't even remember walking in the room or nothing, but I just woke up in this hotel room. And
Are you sure you didn't go on a date with Bill Cosby?
no. I did. I remember meeting this guy, and this was like years afterwards. And he told me that he was he was some tribe down in South America that just disappeared. Do you remember what tribe that was? It wasn't Aztecs. It was Mayans or maybe it was Mayans.
Olmecs.
Yeah, he was telling me that his family was Olmec, and I was like, didn't they all just disappear? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what are you doing in front of me? And that's the only thing I can remember up until that point. And then I just wake up in this hotel room. I'm all by myself. I go out to my car and I pull out the ashtray looking, see, is there cigarettes or what? I could smell something in the car. And there was like marijuana, like blunts. And I didn't smoke at the time. And I was so shocked. I was just like, how did these get in my, I just got in the car and I wouldn't even let nobody smoke in it. So how did this get in my car? How did I end up here? I couldn't even tell you where I was. I don't even know how I got home. I barely remember that. It was just like I had like this really weird missing time thing that went on.
You said you were living with your mother at the time, right?
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad had an apartment. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like, what did your mom say? You're gone for oh, I'm gonna go to work and don't come back for another like day and a half or something.
Yes. Like, and I don't know. I guess I didn't really ask any questions about it. You know, it was just kind of like, oh, you know, I mean, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know if it's like something, you know, how some people just get it in their head and they have to know what happened. I just like, it was like, I just let it go. And it was like, I didn't even realize that I was there in Phoenix when this occurred, which was Phoenix Lights.
Wow.
Which
So
for some reason I know it wasn't an actual UFO. It was they're rolling out of their
yeah,
holographic tech.
the whole government
Hmm.
Project Blue Beam stuff. I think it was called
You
Project Blue
think
Beam.
that's
Yeah.
what it was?
I think so.
Oh,
But I don't know why
Yeah.
they came and took me. Why would they need me? You know? I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I just maybe I don't know. And I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink or, you know, smoke or anything at the time
Hmm.
because I was working like
Mhm.
it was on my days off. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I missed work. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's what missing time is.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever it was, a lot of people, whole city, seen these lights. So, you know, that's one thing, one of the great ones that UFO sightings out there. But I think I think the first person to call it was Kurt Russell. I think it was Kurt Russell.
Oh,
It was a
yeah.
famous actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the first one to call it in. So
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. No, I don't remember any of it. I
uh,
remember everything.
got
I
a quick
remember
question here.
what was it? Super Bowl 30 and the
Mhm.
everything flying overhead from the Air Force Base, but I don't remember that.
We
Okay.
got a quick question here. Spiritual ascension. They are jumping souls to interference with their memories. Lots of missing time and stories. Oh, interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Securely, I was walking up North Mountain when the lights were showing. We didn't think they were UFOs, just kept walking until the next day. Everyone was talking about them. I remember crazy kid making a big deal.
wow. So I guess we
Which is,
got two people there. Huh?
yeah.
The Phoenix Lights.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
That
But
was
yeah,
pretty
I can
cool.
understand people talking about it because I seen lights out there on I-40 going towards Grants, and me and my brother during the pandemic, we're uh, during that time they had a lockdown. Total the reservation was just on lockdown. Everything closed at 9, and they were kind of big about it. Well, on my reservation right there, my res, you were caught. You had to pay like $1,500 fine and stuff like that. So we didn't want to do that, but we wanted to go back home. So we snuck through the back door, I guess, on that side. That's when we seen these lights, and you know, I don't even know how to put it. That's the second time I watched Goodfellas, that movie Goodfellas, and it seems like every time I watch that movie, something goes on. So I don't know. I might want to play that movie again, but whatever it was, yeah, you can see the fright in everybody's. I don't even think it was fright. It was just more excitement that everybody's like, "Wow, did you see that?" And you know, that's the first we stopped at all subs, and everybody was talking about it. Like, yeah, you know,
Don't even remember people talking about it. And I lived there. I lived there till I think I left back home about June of 97. And I don't even remember people saying anything about it to me or even
wow.
hearing it. It was
That's
odd.
that's a really odd story. You know, maybe the government got you for a while. You know, just dropped you off. I don't know.
Well, that was weird,
We
you know, because
don't-
my mom and dad divorced when I was like 10, and I went to live with my mother in Colorado, and it's really weird place that I lived. I lived about 60 miles north of Denver, in this town called Windsor, and it was like situated between like three really big towns, which was like Loveland, Fort Collins, and Greeley. And I remember I just thought that it was a really strange high school because it was like rated 12th best in the nation for a public school.
Hmm.
And I don't know, thinking back on it, like a lot of us, like a friend of mine that went there, we were talking about the pool. There was like a separate building for the pool there. And I was like, I couldn't even go in that building. one of our friends, Heidi, was having like a swim meet, and I promised I would be there to watch it. And I walked in, and I started having like this, like the sweats. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't be in here, and I had to leave. And I was like talking to my friend that went to school there, and I was like, what was it about that pool? Why did it affect me like that? And he goes, well, I have memories, like having dreams when I was a kid, and we would jump in the pool, and we would get sucked into this drain and like be taken to some base. And I was like,
What the heck?
oh, that wasn't what I was thinking, but whoa, that was trippy. But yeah, even like some of my friends and stuff that when we went to school there, we were really I would say that a lot of them had abilities like, ESP and stuff like that. And then,
Well, well,
I
you
don't know.
are,
Weird.
yeah, you, like I said, you said like you're more of the lighthouse, a beacon. So, that it wouldn't really surprise me to, you have a collection of friends like that you even know nothing about it. But
Yeah,
this,
till we were older.
yeah, it's crazy. It's the life is just keeps getting weirder and weirder. But it makes it all much better. So.
Mhm.
We got Crazy Coyote 1313. U.S. Quantum mechanics students were taught the Bible has several poisons, calculations, and chemical equations. That part I'm bad with math. Oh yeah.
Huh.
And spiritual ascension, even dazing out for 5 minutes and wondering where you were is a jumping.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
do that.
remember where. Oh yeah.
It's
And,
almost like I just kind of go into this weird zone out. And I was never diagnosed with what they call the zones are like dissociative
ADD?
identity disorder. And
Oh, okay.
I don't have that, but I'm just like, I'll zone out. I used to work
Hmm.
at this drive-through restaurant, and I used to have to wear the headsets. And we lived in a town where there was a base, and the I don't know if it was army or what it was, but they would come in and they would say a code, and they would like alpha, and they would go on, and it was like one time they came in and said that code, and I was just like zoning out, and they're like, everything's burning, and it was like, huh, ow. Oh, and I'm like trying to, pull the burgers off there, and I had to throw them all away because they were burnt. I didn't even realize that I had zoned out that long.
So
So I don't know. I think I've been in military use since I was a kid, but I've never
yeah.
been in the military.
yeah, like
Your family, military family,
Yes,
right?
I do have
History.
a military family. My father
Oh, man.
was in the Army. My uncle was in the Army and Air Force, and my other uncle was in the Navy, and my son was a Marine. So,
or were they higher rank individuals or your family?
I trying to think. I think my son made it to corporal, and my dad was a tank commander, and I don't know what my uncles. They never really talked about it. You just knew, my
Yeah,
mom would
since
say
you
they were in this, but they never talked about their service. It was
Wow.
always pretty
'Cause
tight-lipped.
you mentioned that.
Real quick, guys. Real quick, we got a good question here again. Spiritual ascension. You don't remember where you went because they'll be wiping your memories.
Oh yeah,
and
most definitely.
if you were to do a memory regression, you would be able to break through and find out what happened and who hijacked you and why.
I've actually had quite a few QHHT regressions where I would talk about seeing like this strange cube. And this cube was either in like a simulated construct type thing where the cube was hijacked or stolen. They tried to steal half of it, and when they stole half of it, it was almost like an AI. It was a really a good AI because the cube was like white. But when the people that stole the
White
cube,
cube?
they pulled that cube in half, and the cube that they kept, because it was based on their they were bad people. The cube turned black. It got really smoky and things were swirling around in there and it became black. And then they took this cube because they thought it was going to be used as a weapon, but it wasn't a weapon. It was AI, which I guess you could use it as a weapon, but and then my regression, it was that. But I was coming up with like really strange things. Like why did I say that? Because when you do these, it's almost like you're kind of awake, but it's like your back seat. And like it's like your higher self comes in and starts talking about all of this stuff. And I'm like getting a headache. So maybe I shouldn't talk about that.
Okay. We'll read this question here. Crazy Coyote 1313. The technology we have now have been in military use for 30 years before public gets them. So holograms and drones were around 97, probably to cover up the stealth blimps military has. And Kurt W75. I feel a lot of regressions are persuaded though. International or not, it's always been hard to find another Jack Mack. And then spiritual ascension. As a QHHT practitioner, I can assure you the regressions are not persuaded. Oh man, that sounds interesting.
They're not. I mean, I've had like really strange recall waking up where I think it's a dream, but it's I've had people like analyze these and they're like telling me that they're not dreams. And I think one of it was like August of 22. I had like this very strange recall that was like a memory. And I'm in the White House and I'm wearing military gear. I remember that because I had a comm in my ear. And at the time, the sitting president was the one who's now. And he came up to me and he said something to me. And I don't want to say it because it's kind of gross, but I was like, sir, kind of, not really. But he wanted me to grab him by the, But anyway, I was like, sir, I'm not here for that, sir. And I could hear people in my ear and a couple of them were chuckling and they were trying to, not laugh. But it was like, told him, and I was in an Oval Office because I remember the office. I remember the curtains were kind of pulled and they were giving off a really orange glow. And when he leaned down, I could see like hair plugs in his head. That's how close he was to me. But I was like really tall because when he bent over, he says he's about 6'2". I don't know if he is or not, but I was taller than he was because he like bent down and asked me what he asked me. And I was like, sir, I'm not here for that, sir. And that's all. And I'm like, I never served. So what the heck? That's weird. That's a weird memory.
It's all in the future or astral projection.
Yeah, I've looked up that date.
Wall.
Yeah, I looked up the date. And at the time he was actually in Washington and he was had the prime minister of some Middle East country there. So, I mean, he was actually in the United States at that date and time that I have memories of this.
Quick question right here. Spiritual ascension. I think this goes back to the cube, your white cube. It says, spiritual ascension says, oh, that's the loca of matrix construct. They're trying to hijack it. Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, a lot of us, from what I was told by my vision from last summer, I had quite a few of them last summer, but they were telling me that this is a soul training construct that we're in and that, half of the population is not real. Like we're in a video game is what they were telling me. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, I'm like, but it was, with this, there was only 40 actual real souls. And then, like they take these into all these underground bases and they have the ability to fragment the souls and then stick these soul fragments into other bodies. And that was a really weird vision that I had. And then I was told the date that they would do the reset, but I think that's a little bit too much for a lot of people to really grasp.
Oh wow!
Quick, one more, Darren. Maybe two more. No, just kidding. Crazy Coyote 1313, Windsor near Fort Collins. That place in the United States military is called the Paranormal Base Squad near the Bigfoots. UFOs, psychics have been spotted there. Ooh, the next Don't Whistle at Night, huh? Darren, you and I are gonna be there.
Yeah. That
wow.
I lived in Windsor. My mother worked for Eastman Kodak, and then I've had some people that were that were affiliated with the SSP. And if anybody knows what that is, they were telling me that Eastman Kodak is off-world. It's an off-world corporation. So,
Wow.
There's-
Wow. You got a lot. You have a lot going for yourself, and
We haven't even get into the Wendigo
Yeah.
yet.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
and,
The
comes down
Wendigo.
to
Let's go
aliens,
Wendigo for
U-
right now. Let's-
UFO, the whole thing.
That's pretty
But
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was about 8 years old when I started to go on these missions, these military missions, and I was shot doing this one mission, and I was shot in the back. I was shot in the spine, which is really weird because I've had 4 back surgeries in that area, but I've never had an injury there that I'm aware of. But I have memories of being about 8 years old, being taken like on a mission. We were like in this Costco warehouse or something like that, and we were told, I'm like shaking right now, but we were told that the people that were being held hostage in there, the people that were holding them hostage did not have weapons. So as a show of good faith, which is something an 8-year-old would never say, but I remember that they said to me, as a show of good faith, you're going to leave your weapons and go in there to retrieve the hostages and bring them out. And so we walked in, and I walked all the way to the back of the store, and I see these 2 men standing there. And one is like looking at me, and the other one is like, he's looking at me, but he's like looking up. And so I turned to see what he's looking at, and there was a man standing there, and he had like something covering his face, and he had an automatic weapon. And all of a sudden I hear in my ear, so I'm assuming I had a comm in my ear, and you can hear him screaming, "Weapon, I see a weapon." And I can hear, "Abort, abort, retreat, retreat." And I turn around and I start running out of the store, and I'm looking straight ahead, and I can see like these doors, automatic doors, and I can see the parking lot, and it's daytime out there. And I'm like, I'm halfway there. And then I hear gunfire, and I just hit face down on the ground. And they come, and I'm like, it burns. I've never been shot, but it burned so bad in my back. And the 2 people picked me up on my arms and started dragging me out of the Costco or the warehouse. And I woke up, and I'm like in my bed. I'm 8 years old, and I'm like, I'm in so much pain, and I can't even scream for my mom or my dad. That's how much pain I was in. And I was like, it took I'd say about 8 minutes maybe before it finally went away. But I know what it feels like to be shot, but I've never been shot, in this lifetime.
You know what? I think we might come back on a part 2 with this whole military aspect of it, because I heard stories like that. These people that they get abducted, and they go away for 20 years, but kids hiring kids like this. It's something like the stories that I heard too about it. They would indoctrinate kids into, some of them, they go to Mars, they do stuff like that. It's really weird, and that's where I got the whole thing of the those crash that they seen in Phoenix were more military, U.S. military tech. So obviously I got a lot of questions that on that too. So, but right now, let's move back to the Wendigo. Yeah,
the Wendigo.
Yeah. The Wendigo. That's a Ojibwe as well, huh? Wendigo.
Wendigo. I have no idea when I started to actually hear that. I know they used to call him like the Gaga Man when I was little. Like, if you didn't go to sleep or if you don't behave, the Gaga Man's gonna come get you. And I was like, as a
Gaga,
little kid.
Is that
like Lady Gaga? I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was just like something. And I asked my mother about it, and I was like, there's certain entities or spirits where I grew up, and I was like, nah, I don't believe in that. I'd hear stories, and I'd go, and I went to my mom, and I was like, is there really? I was like, is there like the devil man and Wabus or Rabbit Man. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, seriously? My mom was like the most logical person. She was really smart. You know, she was like one of the smart kids in school. And for her to even admit that, I was shocked, because she talked about, you know, going out. They'd all go out and party in the summertime in the woods. And they got attacked one time. And they said it was this woman had gotten scratched. And it was by this, looked like a big, huge rabbit. And I was like, okay, that doesn't sound scary. I'm like thinking of the Easter bunny that you see at the mall and stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't sound scary.
like
She's
that
like, but
Johnny-
it makes me think of that one Rick and Morty episode with the new season when they had that Easter bunny that was like
just beating up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that Donnie Darko freaking rabbit. I don't know. Either way, I don't think I'd want to go hand to hand.
Sounds like good dinner, though. Sounds like
if you can catch it. If you could catch it,
It's
and it
better
doesn't
than
catch
chicken.
you.
But you know, that's
Over
the first
in,
story I heard
Prime-
about that rabbit man. You know,
Really?
Oh,
I heard
yeah, it's the
in
first
Miami
time I've
Valley. Sorry,
never
go ahead there.
done anything like that. So that's the first right there. Obviously, you have a lot more stories, or your mother has a
Yeah.
lot of stories too.
That's the
right?
second time. That's
Yeah.
No.
for me. This is the second time I heard of the rabbit man. The first time I heard it was my brother-in-law and his wife. I guess her son, he got out the house. He was younger, and this was around 3 a.m. And the wife, she got out. She realized that the son made his way out the house, and I guess the son went over to his Nellie's trailer, or his grandmother's trailer. So she went over there, got him, and on their way back, I guess she said she swears that she closed the door behind her. And this door was wide open, and when she got on the porch, she seen a giant rabbit hopping off. She said this rabbit had to be 5 feet to 6 feet tall. And as soon as they went inside, they seen someone else's clothes laid on the doorway, like a shirt and a leggings on,
Hmm.
like her workout
Rabbit.
clothes.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's
Wow,
kind of
rabbit.
creepy.
Huh.
well,
Yeah.
like, you know, some of the things that I've saw, we talked about, and I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't really talk about it. It was like the shadow, what do you call them? Shadow person. You know, the ones that you see
Yeah.
on the sides of you, but when you look, they're gone. You know, I've seen them actually quite a few times. And one of it, I was like, we lived by a cemetery in Minnesota, in town, and my kids kept seeing spirits, and we were having some strange things going on in the house. And so my niece and I were like, well, let's smudge. So, you know, we got out the shell and we got out the sage, and we're like smudging. And I heard my mom come in the house, and she was talking, and we were in the front part because we lived like in the trailer house. So it was like the front part of it. We were in that part where the kids' room was, and there was like a Jack and Jill bathroom. And then my bedroom was in the back of the house. And so we came out after we went around in the circle. We come out, and my mom is like standing in front of my bedroom talking. And it was like, we're over here. And she's like, oh, I thought you were back there because I could hear noises. And I was like, no, we're back over here. She goes, well, go. Are you done? And I was like, no, we have the rest of the house to do. She goes, oh, okay. So she sits down. She's like, I'm gonna go grab some stuff outside or whatever she was doing. And so my niece and I walked all the way to the back of the house, and we come back through, and I was like, oh, the furnace door. So I take the door off, and I hand the shell and the sage to my niece, and I take the door off and I put it down, and she hands it back to me. And I took the eagle feather and I went like this one time, and all of a sudden this looked like venom. It was like a Spider-Man type thing. It crawled across the ceiling and just like disappeared, like right over the back door. And I saw it. I was like, okay. And I put the door back on, and we walked out there. My mom's like, are you done? And we're like, yeah. And my niece is like, I saw something. And she was like, did you guys talk to each other? And we're like, mm-mm. So she's like, well, I'm going to take her back there, and I'm going to ask her what she saw, and then I'm going to come out and ask you what you saw. And I was like, all right. So she comes back out, and then she talked to my niece, and she comes back out. She's like, what did you see? I said, I saw a man, like a black shadow, crawl across the ceiling and disappear over where the back door is. And she said, that's exactly what your niece said. And I was like, so that was a really strange thing. And somebody was like, oh, you must have really, ticked somebody off to see that. And it was like, what do you mean? I don't understand. Because I've been seeing stuff like this all my life. And I don't know. I'm just a really logical person. So I always try to figure out what it could be before I sit there and go, oh, it was a ghost, or it was a spirit, or it was, a demon.
Spiritually gifted.
Yeah.
But it's like people around me see in close proximity. But I live out here, and there's outside of my apartment here, there's like all these bars out here. And one night this man was walking. He was walking from one bar to another. He was on the phone talking to somebody, and I'm sitting outside and I see him, and I could see this like weird shadow like hopping like behind him, and there's like a field back behind him. So it was like he was across the street from my apartment, and then there's a field right there. So I saw this dark shadow like hopping around, and all of a sudden he like turns because he sees it too, but it stops, and it's just like by this bush, so it looks like the bush's shadow. And he looks at it, he doesn't say anything, he just keeps walking. And like right behind him there's this weird, almost like a mirage type thing following him. And I was like, my medicine man said when you drink alcohol, your spirit leaves your body for up to 4 days after you drink. And that was his spirit was walking behind him, waiting, going everywhere with him, because you're tethered to your body. So like if you astral travel or anything like that, and your spirit leaves your body, people are like, do you ever get lost? No, because you're tethered to your body. There's like a
silver cord,
right? It's like for me, it's like right here, because I can feel it when they come and they yank me out of my body. It like hurts.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was like, you can always tell who's coming to take you by how they treat you, because like a lot of benevolent, or is that I'm saying that right? But a lot of like the good aliens or your family, your star family, will treat you very kindly and with love and respect. But you get like these dark programs or black op programs, and they try to cause you as much pain as possible. And I've actually telepathically told them, will you hurry the F up? This hurts, and they'll rip me out.
Oh man. Hey, as long as the ones that don't like to probe as long as they stay away.
They well, there are some that do, but they not to me. But it was they were taking my eggs for a long time. I remember that. Like I remember one time I would get like these cramps, and I'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna get visited tonight, because I could feel like ovulating, and it was almost like these little pinchy cramps. And one night I was like sleeping on my bed, and I had, all of a sudden it was like I was laying there, and I was like, I got really floaty, like my legs were like floating, and I was like upside down. When they were taking the eggs, they had me upside down. And then when they were done, they just kind of like, how you take like a I think like a suit or something that's on a hanger, how you lay it down really carefully on the bed. That's what they did to me. They just like laid me down, but I could feel them dragging me. I could feel my hair, like the sheet behind me when they picked me up. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I could open my eyes and see, what's going on. But, they have like, they do something where you can't open your eyes or like move or anything. And I'd never be scared. I would just, kind of hang upside down, I guess. Never thought about it. I was never really scared of anything like that. Cause then, what are you going to do? They do something with some sort of tech. So you can't move. You can't open your eyes. You can't say anything. And there I was again. Well, I think this was, what did I say it was? What year was it? 2020. I was sleeping upside down on my bed again after my medicine man told me not to do this. I was still doing it. But I would just like I could fall asleep, and I wouldn't even realize I fell asleep. But I'm like laying there and I was like, if I said this already, let me know. Cause I remember saying this last night, but I don't remember if I talked about it this time. But it was like I caught sight with my third eye, these little brownish gray aliens. One was in my bathroom. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, I see you. But I wasn't like saying it out loud. It was like I was thinking it. And it was like he heard me because he like moved away and tried to hide behind the door. And I was like, I still see you. And then I caught another movement out of the other side by my bedroom door. And I saw another one standing there. And it was like, there's another one. I was like, what, I see you too. And he moved back. And I was like, I've had quite a few of those little aliens show up in my bedroom, and I've seen them. And I'll be like, what are you doing here? And they're just like, eh. It's like I scare them or something. I don't know, and I don't realize that I'm talking to them telepathically, or they're hearing me telepathically, one of the two.
Oh, none of them are pointing up saying the claw.
Yeah.
God chooses who stays and who goes. Wow. We got somebody, spiritual ascension. It says, Eve, cut any contacts you may have.
I've already done that.
Ascension.
Well, I've done that. I cut all contracts, I'm sovereign. Now nobody comes and bothers me except for those demons. But you have to just show no fear, and then they lose interest. But yeah, definitely, I do not consent. I do not consent to, I rebuke all contracts, any contracts that I've made subconsciously or unconsciously. And this is something that I say, like, pretty much, I wouldn't say on the daily, but I do say it. And ever since I started saying it, I haven't had any issues with them. But then again, I'm like an elder now, so they don't bother me because, the eggs went bad a long time ago.
And then spiritual ascension comes back again, says, next time you feel that feeling, demand they leave in the name of Jesus Christ.
Yep. I know that already.
Yeah. And Tyson Lolito, I had a dream during 9/11. My dream was I was on a mission hunting bin Laden. They asked me, where do you think he's hiding? And all the info I gave them was true, near a military base. Crazy. Oh, man. So Tyson's you already seen it, huh? Where he's going to be? That's cool. And then he says, Tyson Lolito seems so real. And go back to Crazy Coyote 13. Alternative reality windows are around the famous ones near Loch Ness and Lake Champlain. And alternative reality vision sounds like sometimes windows are to other realities, shows up in dreams or in plain sight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I'd probably say in the last couple of years I've been visited by other beings, and not even like alien beings, but like things that we've talked or that our elders have talked to us about, or stories. I think one of them was actually this year, and it was supposed to be like some sort of like aurora borealis. You were able to see the northern lights really clear, and it was like this summer. And my significant other is from south of the United States, where they don't see like the northern lights, and they were outside and they're like, what is that? Oh my God, what is that? And I come out and I was like, oh, that's just the northern lights. That's the aurora borealis. And that night we're going to bed, and I'm laying there, and I kept seeing like these lights in the room, and I was like, and I was like, they saw them too. And there was even like one light that was emanating, and I sleep in a totally dark room because I can't sleep with, lights or anything. And I could see it. It was like making the back of the blanket on their back, because they were like laying on their side. I could see this light emanating from me onto this blanket, and I couldn't see where it was coming from. I kept trying, the double chins were in the way, and I couldn't see it. I was like, what is that? Where is it coming from? But they were seeing them too. They were seeing these lights. And so then I started to do a little research, and in the Ojibwe culture, they say that the northern lights or the aurora borealis are our ancestors. They're up in the sky and they're watching over us. and they're all like spirits. And so I was like, well, if I was visited by the Northern Lights in my room, that would be like my ancestors coming to visit me, indigenously speaking. But
Wow.
I've also seen like these little, like what I thought to be like fairies, which I thought they were fireflies. I call them like wawatesies, which is how we say fireflies. I couldn't remember what they're called until you told me last night what they're fireflies. I'm like, oh yeah. But I was like in my mom and dad's living room, and I just like kind of like I thought my mom walked by me because I could feel like this air brush by me and almost like somebody walking. I was like laying on a futon, and I like open my eyes and I see like these looks like fireflies all around me in the living room. And I was like, oh. And one of the things I do is make sure I'm not dreaming. I'll pinch myself. If it doesn't hurt, I'm dreaming. If it hurts, I'm not dreaming. And I pinch myself and I'm like, oh yeah, that hurt. And I was just sitting there looking at all these lights around me. And it wasn't like fireflies were in the house because it was fall time. It was like September and they're usually sleeping or dead by then. But they weren't like blinking on and off like fireflies. They were consistently on. And I was like, is this like Tinkerbell or something that's here visiting me? But it's almost like they come to me and like show themselves to me. So I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it's kind of cool.
Maybe I think you gotta have some tea on deck, like those European, hey, we got someone here, would you like some tea, just in case. We're coming near the end of our show here, so I'm gonna read a few of these. I'm gonna be picky and choosy. I'm gonna read some of these comments here for everyone, and we'll do your final thoughts before we wrap up, Miss Eve. Owl 13. I'm Ojibwe and Lakota, but grew up in Alberta. What's up, Owl 13? What is up? And we got Kurt W75. Awesome show, Don and Darren. Thank you both and Eve for your time tonight. Everyone, please support Don't Whistle at Night team and their hard work. And yes, please, guys, don't forget to tickle that bell button and smash that like. And please backhand that subscribe button and make sure you throw this link to your ex, to your favorite in-laws, to your least favorite in-laws. Share us, please. Yeah, please.
Spread the word.
Yeah. And thank you very much, Kurt W75. Thank you very much. Roesian, I can't even say it right. Native prophecies can be scary. Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. Spiritual ascension. We're frozen light having a human experience. Oh yeah. And any stories on the elementals?
There's one that's here actually where I live in North Dakota. I live in Fargo, and they have one in one of the old underground places. It's a water elemental. I've been trying to like talk to it. It doesn't really care for people in general, but I've been trying to talk to the trees and have the trees give it messages. Like, not a bad person, but yeah, like there's water elementals and other things that live in trees. And when they cut down the trees, they're told that it was like, sometimes when they cut down a tree, a water will pour out. Well, those are water trees. And then the bigger ones, when they cut them down, they were fire trees. And that's where they try to make it sound like they're volcanoes, but they're not volcanoes. They're old fire trees.
Man, interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy Coyote 1313. Okay. 0203 had a dream about the Navajo first men and first women. They were mad at me over something that their last words to me was, "This is all your fault. Fix it."
Oh man,
yeah, we got horrible president.
Plates and put out some tobacco and make sure you make out your apologies for whatever it is you did.
Yeah, maybe he's supposed to be the Navajo Nation president, huh?
Yeah,
I'll just
maybe. Maybe.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to
And,
like the shamanic things the journeys and
It's-
stuff either.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. You're
Yeah.
healing. You're
Yeah.
how you teach people to wander around in their dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
to
teach
do it.
classes. I want to teach. I teach people. I'm
Part
doing the
2.
animal healing right now, when every weekend, and then also next month is Native American History Month. So I'm doing shamanic journeying, teaching people how to journey. Most people, it's remembering. You know,
Mhm.
just have to remember how to do it. And then in December, we're doing lucid dreaming.
Oh,
Nice.
jeez, that's
So
pretty crazy.
contact me if you're interested in taking any of these classes. You can
Tell
contact
tell
me.
everyone where they can find you. Your
Find me on
podcast.
Facebook. Man. I'm on Facebook. Eve Thunder. You know, you can do Eve Thunder, Eve Howard. I'll pop up. You see my mug. I also, it says founder of Rising Spirit. You can find Rising Spirit on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Prime Declassified Podcast, Prime Indigenous Podcast is on Rumble underneath Prime Declassified. Got some interesting, if you guys are into that military type conspiracy theory, you know, check it out. I think second season, I'll be starting here third year. So just had to take
Nice.
some time
Nice.
off after losing my mom because it was rough.
Oh, condolences.
Mm.
Sorry.
It is. It is. I'm a apologize. No, well, life's life, and we're only here for so long, So,
Yeah.
don't be so hard on everybody else. Just we're all here trying to figure out what's going on. At the end. So,
Well,
Yeah.
we're energy. And if you want to get
Yeah.
into physics, energy cannot be created or destroyed. And that's what we are. We are eternal beings. We're eternal beings of light. And we
Mhm.
all have to remember why we're here. We're here for the soul training, make our souls grow.
Be a better soul. Be a better person, I guess. Oh, that's
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
be
nice.
nice
that's
to your
real nice.
neighbors.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's real nice.
Well, yeah.
But wow, you obviously got a lot for yourself right now. It's the whole spiritual. You have a whole uh, life experiences that are just really, really out there, and it's good to have you on, and uh, you just join join that family. I guess you could say just another
Welcome to
weirdo
the
out here in the
family.
Yeah.
van of weirdos. So, but it's good to know that you know people out there experiencing the same stuff. Even having you on brought in a lot of memories of their experiences too. So that's basically what it's all about. Just, everybody talk. Everybody has something to talk about. Here we're just here for when we get there to the end, I'm pretty sure I'll have words for it. But right now, I'm trying
Yeah,
to do
right now,
my best.
it's all
Oh,
good. It's all good. I'll bring us in for a
Also,
landing. But go ahead, Eve.
Don has my email too. If anybody wants to email me, you can reach out to him and get my email from there. Otherwise, it's Eve Howard 21 at mail, not Gmail, because he sent me a link and it went to Gmail. I was like,
Oh,
it's
yeah, just
mail.
throw
It's
that
mail.
out there.
MAIL mail. Yeah. I do have.
She's
a
not a
Gmail.
male. It's male. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's
kidding.
male. I don't think I'm a male, but anyway. Even though I do have memories of being a male, I remember one time waking up and I had a Pajaguan, but
Is that how you say
yeah,
that thing?
yeah.
Oh,
I was like, oh my
as long
gosh.
as you don't say it, as long as you don't say it in Apache, Navajo
Oh,
means
yeah.
shala, not in Apache. But anyways, I'm gonna bring us in for a landing here. We're talking about probing. Now we're talking about that.
Pajaguan.
Yeah,
So you
they'll
guys,
go around asking to shake Apache's hand in Navajo. So
Oh,
oh yeah,
I remember
don't
that.
do it on purpose.
Yeah.
If you do it, just say, "Hey, Darren Yelsey over there. He told me to do it." I'm just kidding. Uncle Darren over there. Point with your lips. Over there,
Yeah.
Uncle Darren.
Over there.
Okay, guys. All right. bringing us in for a landing. You guys want to say your last buys before next episode?
Well, Eve,
Oh, me? I'm sorry. I thought you meant somebody else. I'm so sorry. I just spaced out for a second. Well, guys, great. I can't wait to come back because I have so much more to say, and we definitely, for some reason, 2 hours did seem like it went that long.
right?
I mean, it was just like
Right.
poop, gone. But yeah, I'd like to come back and be able to share more of a lot of spirituality that is making its way to the forefront, because I was told that frequency and vibration, a lot of the medical and pharma and everything is going to disappear, and it's going to be about healing people, hands-on healing. And I've been doing this and doing medicine for a long time.
Mhm.
So since as long as I can remember, about 6 years old. So and it's great. It's great coming on here and being able to share, with all nations, because I was told that we were all going to be one tribe. And that's exactly what the medicine wheel teaches us. We have the red, black, white, yellow, and it's all in one big, huge circle, because we're all going to come right back to the beginning and remember our roots. And that's why natives, we're here to wake up and realize what our jobs are here, and that people are going to be coming to us and needing our help, and we have to reach out. And healing our generational trauma is really important. People are like, how do you do that? Forgiveness, because not only that, but generational guilt too. That's a thing.
Yeah, we're running out of time here, guys. I'm gonna lead us into our next time. Well, Darren, you want to say later to everyone? Eve, you want to wave
later?
Kick
Bye.
us off.
It's good having you on here. Thank you.
Definitely, most definitely. Thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We've been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Thank you guys for joining us, and remember, don't whistle at night, everybody. See ya. Have a good week.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.